What's up guys, my name is Brandon, and not only did Apple release new iPads and new Macs today, but Apple also rolled out the final version of 12.1 to the public after 5 betas. So in this video, I just wanted to cover everything in 12.1, give you guys a full review and let you know whether or not you should update. So you can see right here, the update came in at around 464 megabytes for me, but that size will vary depending on your device and also which firmware you came from. And you can see right here, it gives you a brief synopsis of everything that's new in this software update. So iOS 12.1 brings some new features to the iPhone and the iPad, but it also fixes a lot of issues that iPhone XS, XS Max, and iPhone XR users have been plagued with since launch. So let's start with the new features first, and then I'll discuss how iOS 12.1 made my iPhone XS Max enjoyable again. So of course, the very first thing that you're probably going to notice with iOS 12.1 is the new emojis. There are over 70 new emojis here in 12.1. You can see there's different faces. There's like a superhero right there. We got some new animals. I'll have a list of all the new emojis down in the description below if you want to look through them, but you'll definitely notice a lot of new emojis. Just going through the emojis panel here, you'll notice some of the new ones in there. And some of the older emojis also got updated and refined for 12.1, so that's pretty interesting. So yeah, a lot of new emojis to send to your friends. Just make sure that your friends are on 12.1 before you try sending them a new emoji, otherwise it won't even show up for them. Group FaceTime has also been enabled here in iOS 12.1, so now you can chat with up to 30 people at the same time on FaceTime, which is awesome. And I've been testing group FaceTime throughout every single beta of iOS 12.1. In the first couple betas, it was very buggy, it crashed sometimes and just had a lot of bugs, but it's been definitely refined throughout the betas. And now on beta 5 or on the final version of 12.1, they're both the exact same. If you were running through the betas, that was the GM, beta 5 was the GM. But anyways, it is much better now and it works very, very well. Now, I haven't done this with more than 3 people, so I don't really know what it's like to have 20 to 30 people on there, but I'd imagine it's pretty fluid. And group FaceTime is actually very similar to Google Hangouts, where iOS basically picks up on who's talking and automatically switches that person to the main bubble. Like right there where you see the yellow BB, that's where the person who's talking, the main voice, will go. So if you're familiar with Google Hangouts, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So pretty cool new feature there. Again, if you want to do this with people, make sure that they are on 12.1 as well. Otherwise, it will not work. And if you don't know how to do this, if you're on a FaceTime call with somebody, if you just go to these 3 dots right here and go to add person, that's how you can add more people to the conversation. You could also do it from a group chat. So if you had like a group chat with multiple people, you could just click on this right here and then click FaceTime and it will call all of them at the same time. So yeah, group FaceTime is an awesome feature that I'm sure will be used a lot with time. So now for the iPhone XS, XS Max, and the iPhone XR, we now have a f-stop button up here in the top right so that we can change the depth of field before we take the photo. So you can see once I press that, I can go ahead and adjust the background blur, the depth of field before I take the picture instead of afterwards like it was in versions prior to 12.1. Of course, you can go into the picture and change it as well, but it's just nice that you can do it before you take the picture now instead of having to do it afterwards. And speaking of the camera, iOS 12.1 also fixes Beautygate, which was kind of a big deal to some, I would assume mostly girls, but I did make a full video showcasing the difference in selfie quality on iOS 12.0.1 versus iOS 12.1. I will have a link to that video up in the cards right now. It's also down in the description below if you want to see the nitty-gritty details. But basically now in iOS 12.1, you don't get as much smoothing on the skin. It's a little bit more sharp. Your skin's a little bit more sharp and realistic than it was in versions prior. And Apple actually admitted that this was a bug and it had to do with Smart HDR choosing the wrong frame. Dual SIM support also comes with iOS 12.1 for those of you with a new iPhone XS, XS Max, or iPhone XR. If we go into here and go into cellular, you can see we have add cellular plan right there, and that is where you can go to set up a dual SIM setup right there. So pretty interesting. I'm not going to use this, but I know it's going to be very popular for a lot of people, especially people who have 2 different numbers or just travel to different countries pretty often. The measure application also got improved here in 12.1. It seems to be a little bit more accurate, and the level is also more accurate here in 12.1 compared to 12.0.1. And along with iOS 12.1, Siri shortcuts also got an update to version 2.1. You can see all of the new features right there. So if you go into your app store and search for shortcuts or go to your updates panel, you'll see an update there for Siri shortcuts. And I do plan on making a video for this as well, but I just wanted to let you guys know in this video that shortcuts also has an update available. Now, of course, iOS 12.1 also brings a lot of smaller changes and bug fixes, but by far the biggest bug fix has to do with cellular and Wi-Fi service. So right when I got my iPhone XS Max, I noticed that the Wi-Fi kept cutting out randomly multiple times per day. I made multiple videos on this on my channel channel, so you guys are definitely aware of this. And basically soon after I complained about that, Apple released iOS 12.0.1, which was supposed to fix both the cellular and the Wi-Fi issues, but it didn't fix either one for me and multiple other people as well. Now, thankfully, this has been fixed in iOS 12.1, and apparently this was caused by prioritizing the 2.4 gigahertz band instead of the 5 gigahertz band, and that is for Wi-Fi. Now, I don't know what was causing it for cellular, but my cell service has been much better since updating to 12.1 as well. So if you are having issues with connectivity, whether that be Wi-Fi or cellular, definitely update to 12.1 immediately. This is the biggest reason that my iPhone XS Max was not enjoyable. It would just keep cutting out Wi-Fi. It would keep cutting out the cell service. I would drop calls. It just wouldn't be that great. It would make me feel like I had a defective device. I just really did not enjoy it until this update. And iOS 12.1 also fixes ChargeGate for some people as well. So if you were having the ChargeGate issue even on 12.0.1, post 12.0.1, 12.1 will likely fix that for you. I personally only experienced ChargeGate one time on my iPhone XS Max, but I have had people on YouTube and on Twitter report to me that they were having it in 12.0.1. So I'm assuming that 12.1 will fix that as well. So should you update to iOS 12.1 if you're on iOS 12 or 12.0.1? And my answer to that is definitely. This is a big upgrade as far as bug fixes, and you get a lot of new features like new emojis and things like that. You don't want to be left out with your friends sending you emojis and you can't see them. You have group FaceTime as well, which is awesome. And just like I said, a lot of bug fixes, especially to do with major issues like connectivity. So yeah, I definitely say to update to iOS 12.1, unless of course you are waiting to jailbreak. If you are into jailbreaking, definitely stay on 12.0 or 12.0.1 at the latest. And as for older devices, iOS 12.1 is also running fantastic on a device like the iPhone 5S. It's also running great on my iPhone 7 Plus. So if you have either of those devices, definitely install 12.1. It's definitely a nice update there as well. So yeah, that's pretty much everything new with iOS 12.1. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also make sure to subscribe for a lot more iOS 12 coverage. So yeah, thanks again for watching guys, and I'll see you soon.